Hello, everyone. I'm so excited today to welcome you to an episode of A More Excellent You. Today, let's talk about how growth actually happens. Sometimes when we see highly productive people, we assume maybe they're just more disciplined, they're just more motivated, they're more consistent by nature. And that may be true, but there's more. Because discipline alone doesn't sustain growth, especially when life gets demanding. What actually separates productive people is structure. They don't live their lives to chance. They have built a system that supports growth even when motivation drops. A system that carries them through when energy fluctuates. And this is what I call the productive system. It's based on an understanding that growth is not an event that you force. It's a process that you design. I'd like you to ask yourself, where am I currently depending on motivation instead of structure? Keep tab on that question as we go along. Highly productive people understand 5 critical things. Firstly, what knowledge they actually need. They don't just collect information randomly. They learn with direction. So instead of asking, what's the popular thing to learn right now? They ask, what gap is limiting my next level of growth? Second, they know how to recognize what knowledge they actually need when it appears. Sometimes the right lesson doesn't come packaged as inspiration or knowledge. It comes as correction. It comes as discomfort. It could come as feedback. It could come as a challenge. Productive people don't dismiss this just because it feels inconvenient. Thirdly, they know what the knowledge will cost. Every useful insight has a price. The price is your time, your discomfort, consistency, identity shift. They don't pretend growth is free. Fourth, they know what has to go. Growth is not only about adding habits, it's about subtracting distractions, patterns, and environments that compete with focus. Number 5, they know that progress is gradual, so they don't rush to get outcomes. They trust in the entire process, the system that brings their expectation into reality. Now, the question is, which of these 5 steps or which of these 5 things do I understand in theory but not yet in practice? How do I move from theory to practice in my life? Have a think about that. Talking about the stages of growth. Growth follows stages. It's not random, but it's predictable. When you get stuck, sometimes it's because we have skipped one of the stages. Stage 1 is awareness. It's about recognizing the gap, not fixing it, not solving it, just naming it clearly. Most of us rush past this stage, but then we realize that we don't have clarity in what we're trying to achieve, and clarity is foundational. Stage 2, acquisition. This is about intentional learning, not just consuming everything. It's about choosing what directly addresses the gap that we have identified. Stage 3, commitment. This is where it gets real. You have to decide to pay the price consistently, not occasionally. This stage filters out casual interest from real change. Stage 4, optimization. Here we try to reduce friction, we redesign our environment to make the right behavior easier and the wrong behavior harder. Productive people don't just rely on willpower, they reduce resistance. Stage 5, consistency. This is where patience matters. Results are not immediate, but they are forming. Skipping any of these stages leads to frustration. To get sustainable results, we have to honor each of these stages. So ask yourself, which stage am I currently trying to bypass or rush through? Now let's take an example. Take, for example, someone wants to participate more actively in a meeting or to speak more confidently in public. Stage 1, awareness. I notice I often have questions to ask, but I don't ask them, possibly because I worry about sounding foolish. Stage 2, acquisition. I learned that good questions don't need to be perfect. They just need to be clear. I also learn that I can structure my questions simply. I learn how to structure my questions for clarification, for example, or for practical application. Stage 3, commitment. Then I decide I will ask at least one question in every meeting or every session I attend. Even when my voice shakes, even when I feel like the question is obvious, I will pay the price and ask the question. Stage 4, optimization. I begin to adjust my environment to make this easier. I write down questions while listening to the session. I sit at a position where participation feels easier, or I prepare the question in advance of the session. This is how I build the system that supports the behavior. Stage 5, consistency. The more I keep doing this, over time, my confidence grows and my thinking becomes sharper. Then participation feels natural to me. The system is not reserved for a special set of people. Any of us can move into the productive system. Any of us can move into the stages, not by working harder, but by working wiser, by learning how growth actually works, and by aligning our expectation with the process. So ask yourself, what is one system that I need to redesign instead of just trying harder? When your systems support your learning, productivity stops becoming a struggle. It becomes inevitable, not overnight, but over time. Thank you for sticking with me till the end, and I'm sure you have learned something from this video. Remember to like and share this video. Until next time, bye for now.